Hi, fellow Hat Trickers. Welcome to our Hat Trick Direct channel. Today's stream will be mainly focused on the features we've just released today. We will reply also to your questions, and then we will see Johan getting ready to be mentored with his Olympic Oumuamua Tahitian team. First of all,
Yes.
I guess many of you have watched the video of the release, but just in case, let's watch it now while we wait for everyone to join us. You can also start typing questions if you have any. So let's see what we released today. Hi fellow hat trickers, here we are again with our monthly release. This one has plenty of helpful updates. To start with, we have implemented a quick way to react to the posts in the forums by using a small set of emojis, such as thumbs up, a heart, and a couple of smileys that will help single out posts that the community loves. We have also added the option to run forum polls with the result hidden until the poll ends. This will be really helpful for votes such as the Hat Trick Gala. Moving on to the Youth Academy, you can now decide beforehand if you want to leave a series when it ends. And now matches will be created for the new season as soon as the league is full. If no one leaves, they will be created around 3 hours after the last round is finished. Please note that this change will only go live 1 week from now, as we want to give youth leagues ending soon time to prepare. We have also doubled the number of bookmarks that supporters can save for each category, and we are also making it possible to remove old players from the Hall of Fame in case you change your mind about a player over the years or inducted him by mistake. We are also introducing a new dynamic player category system, the recommended position. It is shown as a grey category icon next to the player's name on the player details page, the match order page, the transfer search results page, and the current bids page. On the player details page, you also get a minimap of how the player is predicted to perform across his best positions on the field. The recommended position system can be turned off in settings if you prefer to never see it. If you are a supporter and manually set a category on your players, it is always the one you choose that will be visible. You will also notice a new way to search for prospects on the transfer search pages, using the same player categories as a preset for the skill filter. However, all the existing filters are untouched, so you can still search any way you want. That's it for this month. See you again in April. Okay, so this is it.
Yeah.
Shall we start talking about maybe forum reactions? Why did we choose those?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's you see it in a lot of places, but of course that's not a reason to do it all on itself. But a lot of our users have asked for something like this, and but then on our last dev meeting, we basically remembered that we had developed it at some point and never released it. It was not completely done, but quite a lot of work had been done on it at some point, and we just never finished it. So we decided to look into it again, and it's a nice way to like a lighter way to interact with posts. So you don't need to be explicit about everything. And I think a lot of users, maybe there's a bit of a hurdle into to posting. So I think it's helpful to when you browse through a long thread to to spot the posts that are more important, that the community is more engaged with. So yeah, simple little thing, but it's quite nice. It creates more life into the forum, and it seems people are happy with it as well.
Yeah, I think people generally liked it. The main questions have been why this for emojis and not other emojis like the thing or the thumbs down, and even the laughing one. The typical emoji with the laughing and the tears because of laughing. So what do we have to say about this? Because we've thought about it.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I guess less is more in a way. You release something and it's always safer to release a smaller set, like more distinct. Many of these emojis, when you have 200 of them, are kind of replaceable, and they are just different ways to express the same thing. But we start with these, and then we can always easily add more if we want in the future. I mean, I guess the main question has been, should we have negative reactions or not? And I mean, we were not, maybe it was not totally obvious to us what to do, so we discussed that part quite a bit, and we also, we discussed it with the staff. But you could see, like, there's examples from other forum and other communities where they can sometimes be used as a kind of trolling tool, and we really just want to make this something constructive and positive. So I mean, you can still, if you don't agree with someone, you can still write that, of course, but there's no point in having downvotes, I think, at least not for now.
Yeah, I think you could have the sad face the most. Well, that face that's going a little, not smiling, but it's at least it's respectful. It's not like laughing at someone's proposal, even though sometimes I miss the laughing one. There was a funny comment in the forums that I would have gone, like, pressed the laughing icon, but yeah, it's one that can be used for trolling, so we decided to discard it. And I have to say that for what I'm seeing in the comments, many people agree. So
good,
great. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Shall we move on to the next subject?
Yeah, then we could also briefly mention the hidden vote, which is also on the forum. I think I mean, maybe it's easier for the Twitch audience to understand why this is important, because, like, if we had that in the Hat Trick Gala week, it would have been a surprise who won the different categories, instead of everyone knowing that for basically the first 10 minutes who would win. So I think it's much more fun for any kind of vote like this, and also if we're gonna vote for hosting nations for the World Cup and so on, we can make it more interesting. So not a very big feature, but something that actually matters, I think.
Yeah, I really love that feature, of course, because with votes like the Hat Trick Gala, and it also avoids this kind of voting depending on who's winning or not, because maybe you want to vote for someone or some country who has no chance to win, but then there's another that you like a little bit less but more than the one that's winning, and you could, like, do a different vote like the one you intended to do. So this way we avoid it, and we avoid like changing your votes in the last minute again for this same reason. So
I mean, I don't think it's maybe so much that people vote strategically, but I think it's subconscious, like social proofing, social anchoring, that you just see that, okay, this guy or this girl is probably the right one to vote for. Like it's just how we work in our brains. So I think it's nicer this way, of course.
Yeah, true. Okay, so the next topic is the Youth League. We've added the kind of improvement to
Sorry.
So it's just, actually the change is that the matches are created before. So you don't have to wait for a week once the league is over so that the matches are created. And in this week, you were unable to arrange a friendly, to book a friendly, so that was a big problem. So we decided to implement or let's say create the matches 3 hours after the last match was finished in the whole league. But then, of course, people needed to be able to say if they wanted to leave the league before that, because otherwise there was just a short time, like 3 hours. Did we do that just for the friendlies? Or was there anything else, any other reason?
I think that's plenty of reason. I don't know exactly how the feedback was, but this was very much a result of feedback that we got when we did this bigger youth release last year. So this was one of the things that people were most annoyed with. That's they didn't like how the matches were created after the league ended. So the season ended. So and of course, I mean the friendlies are very important in for the youth teams since it's a training opportunity. So I think it's solved most of the problems. I think there's still some suggestions for improvement that we're considering, but we're just considering that for now.
That's true, because sometimes I guess it's hard. Even I've been here in the team for 3 months, but I've been outside for a lot of time, and it's really hard to really appreciate the huge amount of work and thinking and considering every single detail that the team has to do, the devs, tasks, and I think people don't realize the huge amount of thinking and considering and because sometimes you create or implement something like the youth changes that were done like 1 or 2 months ago, and you test it in stage before that, and even sometimes there's some feedback and brainstorming before that and backstage, and even with all this something slips, and when you release it you may find something like that, right?
Yeah, and I mean it's I wouldn't say that. I think we kind of calculate that there will be things that we miss. I mean, because we know that it's not possible to catch every use case, and that's why we have stage, because that's a place where a lot of that is caught before we release. I mean, I think you can say that Hat-Trick is, less than 50% technical engineering and more than 50% kind of social engineering, because every change affects, thousands of users and their learned behavior. And so like you really have to understand people in a way and be like responsive to that. What I think we've been quite bad many times about following up on releases we do. We do something and then there are some issues and then we like kind of forget it and move on to the next shiny thing. So these kind of updates that doesn't look that big, but I think it's very good for the game that that you see that we come back and like wrap things up. I hope we will continue doing that. It's important that we do that this way.
Yeah, and I think it's important to mention as well that some of these improvements that we've done, or implementations or changes in the release, some of them are not in the mobile app, and some of them will be. Like the recommended positions, it's still not in the mobile app, but it will be. But for instance, the forum reactions are already there. So there are some questions, and I'm just seeing a message here. When will the release? When will the update come out? It's come out today. So it's probably watching from the or trying playing the game through the mobile phone, and some of these features are not there. Well, we have some questions like what will be released on April. I don't think we can announce that now, right? 1 month in advance.
A little early, maybe. Maybe you will get a taster during the coming month, but it's a little too early to say anything right now.
Okay, so the next thing, the double bookmarks. So we've doubled the number of bookmarks. All of them.
There's two little things for supporters. So it's the double the bookmarks, and I think that was it's partly because we were thinking, can we do like a bigger release for the forums, because now we're in the forums and doing stuff. And then someone said, I think it's bookmarks, forum post bookmarks, that's something that people have been asking for ages, and it's really simple for us to increase that limit. So it came from the forum post because I think that's where the biggest need is, but we increased it for all the categories. So that's one thing. And then the other thing was the Hall of Fame, which I think is also, I think we did a Hall of Fame update, and that is one of the things where people that people asked for. So but it was a little bit controversial, because there's like purists, hat-trick purists, that think that if you've put someone in your Hall of Fame, it's forever. It's a legend. You can never take someone out of there. I don't know if that's true in real world. I think sometimes people do get kicked out of Hall of Fames. But I mean, come on, this is only for the fun of. It's not like anyone cares that much who you have in your Hall of Fame. So if you want to take someone out of there, I think we can live with that.
Yeah, of course.
So, and then you might. I mean, it could be like, and I know that for myself, that I might have added players just because I didn't know what to do with them, and now I might not even remember who they were. So maybe you get, feel like you wanna clean up a little bit and get some out of there. So that's not possible. Of course, a lot of. Are we really, 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 really sure? Because once you take him out of there, he's gone forever.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way back. But it's true. Sometimes at the beginning, for instance, if you have like a 20-year-old team, maybe in the first year, you thought that player was like, wow, a star, deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. And then you've had much better players, much more important players. And then that player you inducted to the Hall of Fame like 19 years ago is no longer a player that you really appreciate. So it's good to have it. Or maybe someone inducted a player by mistake. I don't know. We've seen everything in hat-trick teams. So the fact that some people don't like or thought that this change would not be implemented, well, if you don't want to remove a player from the Hall of Fame, don't do it. But I mean, it was. I don't think it's a problem, adding that. And I can see here in the comments, I think this comment from Roger Kata is referred to that. 99% people agree. I think, yeah, because it's something that, I mean, it doesn't have any negative effect.
No, okay. I don't think there's a lot of criticism about that change. Maybe I am the one. I am a little bit of a purist, I guess. Like when it comes to storytelling and so on, I want things to fit. So, but even I think this is okay. But maybe it explains why it took so long for us to fix it.
Okay, there are lots of questions now, and they're starting to pile up. So let's see some of them. We have kind of a recurring subject here. It's maybe more for Tassos, who's not joining us today, maybe, but maybe you can say something about this too, because it's probably been discussed for
Mhm.
a while, about the 5 substitutions. They've been available in real life since the pandemic, so 2020 or 21. Will they be implemented in Hat Trick?
We haven't really talked about it. I don't think anyone really disagrees that. I mean, I don't think anyone really sees a problem from like a game point of view, but it's a problem for the interface, because we need we don't really know how to fit. I mean, of course, it's possible. It's just that everything that involves design takes a lot more time for us. We're not. It's not our forte, so to say, to do design projects. But so I think, like, if we wanted to change the match order form, we would want to do other stuff and make it work the same way in mobile, and like it would become a bigger thing. And right now it works, and it has worked the same way for a long time. So I just think that the idea itself is absolutely fine, but we might just hang on to it and do it when we feel that we have more things that we need to fix in the match order form, and like make a project out of it. Because once we start meddle with it, it's gonna take time. I think so. I think it's more about.
And of course, there are other things that should be tested and considered, because like having 5 substitutions means that you can have maybe older players because they have no stamina. So is it good for the game? Is it bad? So it's not only difficult for, because we have to add some different elements of design, but also because everything has to be considered. It's really easy to say, okay, let's add two more substitutions. Yes, but it has an effect on the game, on the market, on the squads. So it's something that we cannot take lightly, right?
No, of course we would need to consider it. I mean, I'm sure it has certain effects, but I mean, like, just my gut feeling is not that it's that would probably not be something that would block it, but we would want to be aware of what would happen. But I mean, is it important for us that we have 5 substitutions just because there's 5 substitutions in real life? Not really. It doesn't have to be like that. It should be good for the game. It should be good for the game experience. And if it's like, we see it as an improvement for the game, or like equal, then we could do it. That would be fine. But then, like I said, then it's also all the other stuff that we need to change. So that's why I think we'll wait for a bigger project. But I don't have a strong opinion about it. I mean, in general, if something just adds more complexity and but like no clear user fun or user value, and then I'm like a little skeptical maybe. But yeah, this is at the same time, this is very core football, your substitution. So maybe it could also help players have a broader and a bigger squad, which I think is good for the game, not have two tight squads. So maybe that is a value with this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And related to that, I mean, we've answered that sometimes, but I think it's good to mention it if it's been asked. What about changes?
Yeah, up on every stream, doesn't it? No, I mean, the same answer as always. If we ever do it, it will be only in matches where both coaches agree in advance that they want to do it, and not probably in like core matches like league and cups, but maybe in tournaments, for example.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this one. The typical question about the match engine. I would like to ask you about many surprising matches results in the last season. It's a false perception, or the hat-trick engine code has been presenting some bugs? There was one bug. It was spotted this weekend, in which there were two matches that, because of an unpredictable event leading to a mischance leading to a counterattack, then the counterattack kind of entered into a loop, and there were like 12 counterattacks in the match. This was a bug, and this was fixed, and it only happened in these two games this weekend, but the bug was there since October, I think. So
yeah, but
yeah,
we checked. It was like in all that time, it was 10 or 20 matches or something like that. It happened. So it was really, it's really statistically insignificant in what we're talking about here. I think I think the like this perception of that it's more random and more unexpected results. That is. I mean, that has some truth to it, and it has to do with the fact that it's not something that changed in the match engine, but the fact that the teams are now like they used to be distributed from like very low average skills to very high, and now a lot of teams are very close clustered. Like they are all aged, mature teams and have quite close skill sets and also quite close the makeup of the players are quite similar. So like if you put two very equal teams against each other, you're gonna have more surprises because there is more room for diverse results. But this we have actually analyzed this much more in detail, I think, than many people realize, and done looked at ways that we can kind of predict and prevent the most unpredictable results or the most unfair or like extreme results. But so there is stuff being done on that part, but it's quite important to say that it's not. And maybe this would be better if Tassos talked about this rather than me. But there is not. We have never changed anything in the match engine to make it more random. Not for not within living memory. So this perception of more random is like a natural consequence of the engine that we always had, and the fact that the teams are changing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have to say, it's like, well, in real football, it happens. You've seen many matches where the biggest team even played better than the smallest team, and they lose the match. There's kind of a random factor even in real football, but
yeah,
it's not that it's like random. It's that it's a little bit random in the sense that maybe if you're playing a board game and you need any number except a 1 to win something, and you roll a 1. Well, yeah, you had 1 out of 6 chances to do that, but it happened. So it can happen. It could happen as well. And hat trick is really multi-layered. There are many ways to win a match, many things to take into account, from special events, from counterattacks, from scoring, from and special events. You can trigger 1, but there are like many different kind of special events, and maybe you have lots of header specialists, and in that match there's no event for heading. I don't know. There are many things that can happen. So yes, it's a little bit random, but at the same time, if you have a team that is prepared for most of the possible outcomes, you have more chances to win. For sure.
But like imagine, let's say two teams are playing each other, and there's a 1% chance that that the team B wins. So the team A obviously is expecting to win in every match. But there's this 1%, and obviously that means that in 1% of the matches that team will win. And when that happens, team A will feel that it was the wrong result, because in so many examples he would have won. Then imagine that in one time in 10,000, not only does the team B win, but he wins by 8-0. You know, that result, it's gonna cause the user to quit, rage quit. You know, like I never want to see hat trick again because this match engine is broken. So maybe what I'm saying is, like, maybe if there is, we have to have, the chance for the weaker team to win. But maybe there doesn't need to be a chance for him, for that team to win in that way, because that looks, too strange. And it's like, I mean, like if a Division 4 team wins Manchester United 8-0, you're gonna assume that, there was something strange going on. So I mean, like, what we're maybe thinking about doing is to catch the outliers and, like, reduce the outliers, but still, make sure that the team that would have won still wins, but moderate it a little bit. But I think maybe it's better that we come back to this topic in a later stream, because it's quite deep. And,
yeah, it is. We have a question regarding the Hall of Fame, which we more or less answered, but maybe we didn't answer it clearly, or maybe the user came after we answered it, so we can show it. It's this one: when the Hall of Fame player is kicked, is it similar to getting fired, so he will never come back again?
Yeah, I mean, when you put someone in the Hall of Fame, they disappear from the player database, so that they are no longer a real player, right? So the Hall of Fame character is a lesser character. He can never go back to being a player. We don't save most of the information from his his skills and stuff like that. So in a way, the Hall of Fame player has already been fired. Then when you fire him from the Hall of Fame, he is truly gone. You can see the Hall of Fame is like a second life, that the player gets, where we save the name and some his history in some way, but not so much his player skills. And but yeah, when we take him out of there, he's gone forever.
And related to that, this question: when I try to remove a player from the Hall of Fame, I encountered a problem saying I cannot delete him if he is an employee of the club, even he's not. Should I set him to unemployed? Yes, right?
Yeah, but you say that he's not, but I'm not sure, because it could be that you're confusing this. This is not like the role in the Hall of Fame, that you can set the role for them, like their career after their player career, like they're a sports journalist or equipment caretaker or whatever. That's not employment. Like, when we talk about employment, is that you have put their names on a staff member that you hired, that it's actually the player is used in your staff in some way. So that you need to look at that and see if he is, and then change that staff member so he's no longer a staff member.
Okay, another question related to youth leagues. Is it possible to leave a youth league after the new match plan was made? I don't think so. Once the matches are created, you cannot leave that league until the next league break, right? If I understand the question correctly.
I guess so. I'm actually not 100% sure if you can leave a youth league or not, but let's see here.
We'll have to check that.
Mhm.
Tassos is the expert on that, not the
Yeah.
two of us.
Well, I can't leave this league that I'm in right now, so I guess you can't leave during the season.
Mhm. Okay, we have a guy asking for assists repeatedly. Okay, here you are. I think we've talked about it sometimes, about assists. I guess it refers to statistics about the players with the most assists, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, we have talked about it, and it can be done, of course. I think the reason why we haven't implemented it is that we kind of want to do something more with assists to make it more of a, because right now an assist is some special events and some certain events where you happen to mention the player that passes the ball, but there should be assists there are assists that are not spelled out, but they are kind of assumed by the match engine, and we don't have statistics for those because they're not never mentioned. So it the idea that we had was to actually build assists into the match simulation in some way, and have statistics for those, because like if we want to do that at some point, it would be sad to introduce like the lesser statistic of assists and then change it later. So I think that's where we are really with that. We don't want to touch it because we think it could be a better feature than it would be if we implemented it now.
Mhm. Okay. I think the question about leaving the youth league was related not to leaving, but to the decision of leaving, for what I'm seeing in the comments. So I think we can say again that if you want to leave a league, you don't have to leave that league in the 3 hours before the matches are created. There's a checkbox that you can click on and say leave the league after the season ends or something like that. And you can click it at any time. I'm playing in a youth league and we've just played the first match, and I could click it now, and the end of the whole league, I would leave. And I don't want to because I like that league.
Yeah, the leaving the league is a pending decision. It's there, it's pending for when the league is finished, and then you leave it. So exactly.
Okay, more questions about different topics, but let's highlight them. Do you guys plan to promote Hat Trick in any way to attract more players for the future?
Yeah, we have actually sponsored a podcast for the first time in my home country of Sweden. There was just a funny test, but it happens to be a podcast that I'm listening to called Tuttosvenskan about Swedish football, and so we have been there and been sponsoring their preseason because it's the preseason in Sweden, and they have this really silly but funny a table, like a preseason table, where they count all the matches that the teams plays during the preseason. So in that context, we're presenting the hat trick trophy to the best team of the preseason. It's just a funny thing, but it's an example of, I mean, like I don't that a promotion like that doesn't drive a lot of new signups immediately, but I think it could be interesting to try, because in a country like Sweden, we have a really big amount of ex-users who know what hat trick is. They have played it and liked it, but then they got kids or they changed jobs and they stopped using hat trick, and they did start doing other things. So it can be a way to get the word out that Hat-Trick still exists, and that we're alive and kicking and doing stuff and releasing stuff all the time. So we're trying that, but the main avenue is to keep working on our visibility, like with the website, the app, to make sure that we're seen when people search for these kind of games, and that it's easy to sign up, that you don't get bored in the first 30 seconds and or don't understand what's gonna happen. I mean, like, we have so many small little strange things in Hat-Trick that makes it hard to get in and understand it. Like, you really need someone holding your hand, like a friend who says, like, it's worth it, you should stick to it, this is going to be fun, once you have trained your first few players and so on. But we're like constantly trying to fix those little things and make it, because if we don't do that, there's no point in promoting it or paying for promoting the game, because it needs to really be sticky once you get in, and I think that's the best time spent. But once we do that, I'm super interested in promoting Hat-Trick in any way it's possible to do it. So.
Another question: when we will see the Hat-Trick Discord?
Yeah, that's not officially announced. I think that there will be one, but people might assume that since we launched the Discord integration. I think I might have hinted at it as well on the stream previously. Yeah. We're gonna, I think the plan is to roll it out for Hat-Trick staff members first, and then in the coming months to users as well.
Yeah, it will be quite soon, I think.
Yeah.
What else? Another question then. I think it's been asked sometimes, but we can reply to it. Do you guys plan to branch out into other sports like ice hockey, basketball, etc.? A lot of work, right?
This is another question we get often. No, we're not. We did some partnerships. There was a Hat-Trick user who did a cricket game. He was a moderator, and it's still going strong. Like, it's been around for 18 years or something like that now. Bat-Trick. There was another Hat-Trick user who started a basketball game, and we were involved in that as well. And that's called buzzerbeater.com. But it's not. I mean, first of all, none of those sports, none of those games, like, achieved anything close to Hat-Trick's popularity. So it was very hard for us to really put time into those games. And in the end, we just, we invested in them, or we helped them, and in many ways. But we just parted as friends and let them continue doing their things separate from Hat-Trick. So now I think that, like, if we ever do another game, I think it would be like more interesting creatively to do something else completely. So no, I don't think any ice hockey games is coming.
Okay. Shall we move on to the next topic of the release today? Like recommended positions, right? That would be another thing. So what can you tell us about it, Johan?
Yeah, I mean, this is a let's say this is a kind of feature that I like a lot, because it has to do with I mean, this started as a way to help newbies. I think it started with the transfer search change that you can search by category, so that there was like a quick way to. I can show it maybe. You have it there, right? The screen share. Am I sharing now or?
Now you are.
Okay, right. So this is HT Daniel's baby, but he really loves everything that makes the game easier for newbies, and he was super frustrated that it was so hard for a new user to understand which skills you actually need for a certain position on the field. I mean, like you need to go to the manual and read it, and the manual is 50 pages long. So he came up with this, just very straightforward, but you can get a pre-selection of the skills that matter in the order they matter for each position. And then when you do search for that, we had these category icons that were something that the supporters could put on their players when they felt that this player is a defender or a forward. But since we already know, we know which skills matter for each position, so it's very easy for us to highlight. And actually, I think these categories were already used in like specific newbie features also at the time. But now we decided to show them like this. So when you search on the transfer market, you get this icon to show also like this is probably a forward. Of course, you can use these players any way you want. Like always, you might find a defender and you want to train him as a midfielder. That's totally fine. There's no penalty in that. But it's like a recommended position. It's so that was a nice little addition. And then we discussed more, and then I think Tassus came up with the idea that why don't we also show on the player details page what that means. So now it suddenly became a visual thing that can show new users what actually the star rating they would get if they were played, and this you recognize from the match order form where you can see these predicted ratings already and have been able to do for a long time, but not in this way. So it came together, I think, in a really nice package that is helpful for experienced users, but especially for new ones. And then if you train them, this will change. So if you train this guy as a midfielder, he might get a different category in the future. Because players change, and if you are a supporter and you absolutely want to tag him as something else, you can still do that. And I mean, you can override these categories as you want, but I mean that's only for your own viewing, so to say. It's not. So yeah, that's it. But and this got us thinking also. And I'm just gonna drop this as a teaser because we haven't mentioned it anywhere, and we're still working on it. But this is based on, all these calculations are based on the star ratings, not on the contribution to sectors. And of course, the contribution to the sectors is much more important for any serious hat-trick manager. It contains a lot more than the star rating. So we are looking into a way of improving the star ratings a lot. They are something that have been a little bit forgotten, I think, over the years. And I think there is a good opportunity, to really revamp them and make them more fair, a better indicator of what a player is good at. So yeah.
So it's a great start, but we can still improve it a little bit and tweak it and make it a little bit more similar to the contributions. But I think it's
Yeah.
great for newbies because they start and they get like lots of information of abilities, skills that a player has, that they contribute in one way or another to every position, and then they get names of numbers, 10, 11, but they got the words as well. So having this kind of help can be, I think, very good for newbies. And together also with the fact that in the last years in the match lineup page, you can now see how that player will contribute, how many stars they will have, and how they will contribute to the team's ratings. I think that this helps a lot. So that's more or less it regarding the release, right?
Yeah, I think so.
We have a couple of questions that are interesting here. This one is not relating at all to the release, but it's how famous is hat-trick in Sweden? I think it's an interesting question.
Yeah, it's a very good question, actually. I think that when you talk to a certain age group, a certain group of men around, between the ages 35 to 50 or something like that, it's pretty famous. I think, like if you were on the internet in the pre-Facebook days and spent a lot of time, and then like the generation of teenagers today, not so many knows what hat-trick is. But it's not like a household name in any way. No. I think there are countries that where hat-trick penetrated much deeper. I mean, the best example is like the Faroe Islands, where I think several percent of the population played at some point.
Wow.
But and also Switzerland was like huge for the population when it was at the biggest. But it's not like it was never a game that got a lot of mainstream attention. So the way fame works is that you not only do you need to know about it, but you need to know that everyone else knows about it too. Then you can talk about it. But this is more like a something that a lot of people know about, but they only talk about it with the friends that they met through the game. So like a
true.
Secret club, maybe more.
I've highlighted an example of what you mentioned. I started playing hat-trick as the older brother of my best friend went to study 6 months in Sweden.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I guess that was quite a long ago. We don't see the year, but I guess it was like maybe in 2002 or 2003, maybe. I think it was more or less 2005. Yeah, more or less that was the peak, I guess, in Sweden, right? More or less. 7,
8, 9, I think. Yeah, was the peak. No, I mean, like the US community basically started with a Swedish guy who worked as a programmer in Kansas City, and his colleagues started playing hat-trick even before it was translated into English. They played the game in Swedish, and he explained to them what to do. And one of those guys ended up being a game master, and he came to visit us in Stockholm, and we became friends. And like from that point, the American community started to grow. And in Mexico was a similar situation with some Swedish people who worked in a university, and one of them got a girlfriend. The girlfriend started playing, and she became a game master, and the Mexican community grew. So yeah, it's quite funny. But I mean, like, this is really, 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 really long ago. It's like in the 90s when there was not viral content in the same way as there is today. So you spread things in different ways.
And also related to that, when did you decide on the name for Hat Trick? Were there many other options, and what were they?
Well, I don't know, because I wasn't around then, but I have never heard about any other name being, considered. So I think it was, I mean, it's kind of a catchy name, so why not?
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, I cannot think of any other possibility now. When you hear about Hat Trick, it's Hat Trick. I mean, it cannot called any other way now that we know. Can you imagine if we change the name now? The complaints of everyone would be like huge.
No, I don't even want to think about it. It makes me very tired even to think about that.
Okay, more questions. I keep seeing here in the comments about Women's League. They keep talking about Women's League. We hear like some opinions for and against. I would say I don't see why we would go against that, and why not? I mean, if we can have like Hat Trick Anniversary League, why can we have a Women's League if it's like separate? It doesn't hurt anyone, and it's something very good for many people who are expecting it. I mean, I'm sure, well, I know we have women playing the game, so it's good that they can like play from their gender. The hardest thing is, of course, there are many languages that have genders, so all the text.
I guess there's two hurdles. Like the first one, if you would just add Women's League as another league in Hat Trick, like Hat Trick International, then you have all the translation issue, because all the texts in Hat Trick, and there's like tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of words, are assuming that the player is male. So that has to be changed in 55 languages. That's and I know that it can be done, and I know that there's a willingness to help with that. But then the next question, I think, is, do we really want like a women's Hat Trick to be exactly the same game as Hat Trick? Do we just want it to be a league in Hat Trick, or do we want it to be its own game, like with its own identity? And then it's a much more interesting project, but also a lot bigger. So I guess we are still a little bit undecided about those things. But like I see sometimes, I don't want. I think it's wrong, and I mean that I think is that's just a load of BS. I mean, come on, it's a perfectly fine, and I think a lot of people would love the game. So I would really like to do it, not because I think we have to, and because it's politically correct or anything like that, but I think it would be a genuinely interesting thing to do. But I'm not sure how to do it in a good way. That's more the problem. And
But as you said, it's a good way to try different things that maybe you would like to see in Hat Trick, but you cannot, because it would mean changing a lot, completely the game, and they cannot be implemented. But if we do that side game or side league game, whatever, with a different maybe speed, I don't say, I'm just guessing, but with different things.
I mean, I'm a little afraid of, let's say we just do it as another Hat Trick International. I mean, we're talking about maybe 100 times more work, or 1,000 times more work than setting up a new Hat Trick International to have a female league. And what if the interest is similar to a new Hat Trick International? So I mean, then we have spent 1,000 times more time on doing something that is basically just another themed league in hat trick. Then I don't think it's. I mean, even though it's a worthy cause, and it's women deserve representation in hat trick, but it's still not like a rational thing for us to do. So that's why I think, like, if we want to if we do it, it should be something that has its own identity and own spirit, and that can stand on its own feet somehow. And then I think it could be really cool. But yeah, that's my thoughts, at least. But we have not decided to do it one or the other.
And there's also another thing that has been asked quite a lot, and that I know that you like, like a hat trick masters for teams that are not in the. I don't know if it's noobs, because Barak has asked this question several times. I think he means just the teams that are not in the top, so that they can compete with teams in other countries. I don't know. I think if we have like thousands of divisions in a country, I guess it's a lot of cups. So I don't know if that's something easy to do. But I know you like the idea of having some smaller leagues, not the top league, have something to fight for internationally, right?
Well, I do, but I think, like, we had this discussion when we do the brainstorming for the new hat trick masters, and so I guess I suggested that we do hat trick masters, and then we do an international tournament for the winners of the division under the second division. And then, like, the argument was, but then you punish the teams in the top division that didn't win, because it will be more attractive to play in the second division than to be like on place 2 to 8 in the top division. And I mean, the same argument would then be this true for all the way down the hierarchy of divisions, so that we could never do anything fun for league winners, because the league winner of division 7 is worth less than the number 8 or 7 or 6 in the division above. So yeah, I don't know. It took some of my enthusiasm out of that idea. Yeah, but maybe we can find a way to do it in the future.
Yeah, it's true, because it's something that would be nice, but at the same time, you have this unfairness of why this team that is in a division that is much lower than me, that I'm playing in the first division, for instance, is playing an international trophy and I'm not. Well, I guess it's something similar to the secondary cups. You could win
the secondary cups. We also had a lot of problems with, like, weighing the benefits of playing in this lower cup. Would people lose deliberately in the main cup to be able to win this lower cup, and so on? You always have that problem. But yeah, we'll see what happens there with the international cups. Right now the focus is to make the Masters a little bit more fun.
Okay. One question related to the recommended position. I don't know if you know about that. I think I do, but I'm not sure. Is the form included in the recommended position in the ratings? Because that's something that we didn't do. Neither you nor I.
I'm not sure, because in the match lineup, in the match lineup it should be. In the match lineup it should be, but Here, I'm not sure. We have to come back on that. Write that up so we can get back to it.
We will see. I think when I checked my players, there was someone with a very low form and the rating was a little bit higher. But of course, I don't know for sure. It was just after a quick look at my players. So something that any of you can do. So what else? Oh yeah, this one. Which one is the change in the youth team? It's been asked, but let's clarify that. The new matches after ending the group will take 3 hours to create. Okay, but is it going to be 1 week between the last and the first match? Yes, it's still 1 week, but since the matches are created in just 3 hours, now friendlies can be arranged because there's kind of a technical issue that prevents friendlies to be arranged if there are no matches scheduled for a team, right? So let's clarify that the matches still take 1 week to be played, let's say, because it's something that changed, when people took advantage of that loophole to quit a league and create a different one. Lots of questions, but shall we try to see what you want to do with your mentoring program?
Oh yeah, almost forgot. I was intrigued by this person saying, "I've been playing so long that it feels like I'm your daughter." I was wondering if I would like to ask this person if her mother played hat-trick or then, but I don't think she needs to be worried about me being her father.
I haven't seen that one.
Sorry.
Let's now stop the questions for a moment, at least replying. You can keep on asking, and you can tell us about why you want to be mentored with your new team, Olympic Oumuamua from Tahiti, and what we're going to do with that.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, we're gonna we've been matching me up with a mentor, like one of the most qualified mentors in hat-trick, right? I don't know if we should reveal his name now or next
maybe
week.
Maybe we can keep it like a surprise.
Yeah, it is. Let's do that. Anyway, so I started this team when the season started. So having waited now to be mentored, I actually didn't do that much with the team yet. So we're gonna give this person a tough nut to crack, because I'm. If you share my screen, I'm in a bit of a problematic situation already.
Can you share it, please, to me first, because I don't have it here.
Okay, sorry.
It's kind of disappeared from the backstage.
Why did it disappear? No, I don't have the present. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Chrome tab. Okay, so we did that.
Okay, here it is.
I'm gonna go here. So now we're in my in my team. Yeah. So first of all, extra points if you know what this name was called, alludes to, where I got the name.
I have no idea. If people know, please, extra points, honorific points.
I'll just leave that for the chat. But anyway, so we're 4 weeks into the game, to the league, and I'm at 1 point. The only thing that is positive at this point is that I'm still in the Challenger Cup here. But now I'm up against my first human manager. So my conundrum now is, should I start acting on the transfer market before I have my mentor, or should I wait?
That's a good
We'll
question.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think maybe I should not do anything drastic because I wanna start this the right way. And the idea here is to go through like a public mentoring as if I was like really a new user, and for us to come back to it maybe once a week, like in a short stream or every few weeks, to see how the team progresses. And then at the end, we can we're gonna edit this together to be like a video that new users can check out and see in a concentrated form how a mentoring works and what can be achieved with it. So that's our scope, so to say. Yeah, right now, I mean, I'm really I haven't done it. I haven't even hired any staff. So
You just opened the team, right? You just opened the team, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna focus on the important stuff until the mentoring starts, like picking a cool logo, and then I'm gonna give my mentor some. We're gonna hook up this week, and he's gonna get some time to make a plan for me, and then we're gonna present it next week.
Okay, we have two people guessing what Oumuamua means. They took a little while. Maybe they Googled it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure. No, it's the it's this. If you remember, there was this comet that it's supposedly like the first object that has come to us from another solar system, that we can prove at least. And if I remember correctly, but what was cool about it is that it really looked like a spaceship. It really looked like an artificial object, and it's a Hawaiian word that means scout, or like a scout from far away or something like that. So since it's a Polynesian theme, I thought I could borrow a Hawaiian word for a Tahitian team, even though it's not exactly the same, but they have similar linguistic roots.
That's cool. Cool name. At least it's not like mine. My nickname is Chase, so my team is the Chasers. At least you have more imagination than I do.
Right.
Okay. Do you want to highlight any 2 or 3 more questions, for instance?
Yeah, we can do that.
One that has been repeated twice. Sometimes we see that because probably the users think that we're not reading them, but I have highlighted them twice. So just one of them. Johan, can you explain why the midfield is not an important component in games right now, I guess, compared to what it was at the beginning, which was very important, leaving the distribution of chances on many occasions too unequal, having a similar or even superior midfield? Well, I guess there's a little bit of that random component.
Yeah, I think for first of all, maybe there's an assumption here that I don't agree with, but I think this is one for Tassos, to be honest. Otherwise, I'm just gonna say something that I regret. So, yeah.
I have to say that generally the midfield, I think it's very important, the most important line of the game. But of course, sometimes you see that maybe a team has 52% possession and he gets 4 chances and the other team has 6. Well, it can happen. And some other things. But as you said, Tassos is the expert. So in the next stream that he's with us, this question can be asked.
Him with questions like this.
Okay, another one. Will there ever be any other club international competition like Hat-Trick Masters, but filled with losers? I wouldn't call them losers, but anyway, like the second and the third first division teams or main cup finalists? This is something that we're discussing now.
I mean, in the revamp of the Masters, it looks likely that we will expand the recruitment to more teams from each league, and at least that's one of the theories we have there. So, but it would be the same competition then, not a like UEFA Cup or Europe League type or Conference League competition. No, not yet.
Yeah, it's something that we're still discussing on backstage. I mean, it could be that we include these teams, and it could be that we don't. It depends on many things, and feedback and opinions and things like that. So we still don't know, but we haven't forgotten about those teams.
No.
And I think we can conclude with a very nice comment that I love. So I don't know if anyone did yet, but I love the new changes, especially for the new joiners, new users. So yeah, thank you. And we can like call it a day for today.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
everyone, thank you everyone for your comments, for your feedback, questions, etc. And see you soon.
See you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Bye. Oh, and I have to activate the video. Here it goes.